The Brandon Aiyuk situation is becoming a disaster for every single party involved. This Sunday, Brandon Aiyuk went to social media, already a red flag. Let's just get ahead of this. Brandon Aiyuk doing social media stuff is red flag 101 for him and in this entire saga. It's never been good, it's never been appropriate. All it's done is hurt all parties. But on Sunday, he goes to Instagram, does a little video, and at the end, finishes it with a go Commanders, go Commanders, go Commanders. He's not on the Commanders. He is not a current member of the Washington Commanders. He is making it clear that that is a destination that he is interested in, which he has done in many posts prior. I'm going to get to the Kittle stuff in a second. That is a huge, huge factor in this. But firstly, this is a mess because the NFL is evolving past the diva wide receiver phase. I understood the era where receivers were going across the middle, taking huge shots unprotected, and then still not getting paid a ton of money. It's a wide receiver market now. It's a wide receiver league. These guys are getting compensated very fairly, just as Brandon Aiyuk had been. He got an injury. It happens. He didn't rehab after. That doesn't really happen. One key that I always factor in when I'm thinking about adding a player is how can they deal in an actual workplace environment? Technically, NFL front offices are your boss. They're your boss. This is your boss. These are the guys that are in charge of you technically. So how do you respond to that? Well, earlier, again, on social media, Aiyuk went off on 49ers leadership in an Instagram video, again saying this. You want to know why they really mad, though? They mad because they stupid. Red flag right there. Stop the quote right there. You can't call your front office stupid. You can't do that because if you're calling one front office stupid, you might call another front office stupid. Continuing, they mad because they paid me $50 million in 8 months and then voided my guarantees for 2027. Stop. It sounds like you're mad about the voided guarantees. Resume. And I'm about to be on a new team in 2026. They mad at themselves. Of course, they're mad at themselves. They're mad at the whole situation. They're mad that you decided you weren't going to play or take being a 49er seriously. A legacy franchise, by the way, a franchise with history, a franchise with Super Bowls, a franchise with leaders and Pro Bowlers and All Pros scattered across, a franchise with the top 5 coach in the NFL right now, and a front office that normally gets things right. And you, Brandon Aiyuk, are going up and planting your flag on the hill and saying, these guys are mad and these guys are stupid. That's crazy. That's a crazy thing to do while you're trying to be courted by another NFL team, specifically just one, the Washington Commanders, so you can go play with your buddy Jaden Daniels, who actually has a future in the league. That's a pairing that a year ago, 2 years ago, looked great. It looked like, man, Aiyuk got injured, but if he came back and he played with Daniels and the room in San Francisco is getting a little crowded, if he got over there to DC, maybe there'd be something there. Maybe the guy could just come off of his rehab stint. He didn't do it. He could come off his rehab stint and then be really productive for the Commanders because they really need another wide receiver or a flex 1-2 guy to go across from Terry McLaurin because they don't have a ton of depth. It's Terry McLaurin and Chigo Okonkwo, the tight end. Everyone else is a question mark. Brandon Aiyuk could have provided some of that stability. Not looking like that anymore. Let's go to the mega red flag around the Brandon Aiyuk situation. That's George Kittle. George Kittle doesn't have a bad thing to say about anybody in the league. He went on Pardon My Take and gave a comment on the situation stating this. You guys have fun with that, I guess. Have fun with all that comes with it. Oh, that is red flag material, especially because it comes from George Kittle, the consummate 49er. Kittle is a football guy. Pardon My Take has made an empire by finding football guys and interviewing them, finding the likable guys that understand football, understand the machine, love football, love the machine, love everything about it. When a football guy like George Kittle says something like that about a teammate who Kittle normally holds in the highest of regard. You've never heard somebody talk so positively about a fullback than George Kittle has with Kyle Juszczyk. It carries weight. That carries serious weight. The stuff that he said about the 49ers, disgruntled employee taking a shot at his employer, sports are a weird world sometimes. All right, that can possibly potentially happen in theory, and people can potentially move on from that. The speeding stuff, immaturity. Maybe guys mature. Right? We get past that. The rehab stuff, again, immaturity. We're going to maybe even look over that for the sake of the conversation. If you have George Kittle, who sounds like he's given up on you as a potential, friend or teammate or acquaintance or something of that nature. That is an immediate no-go for me if I'm the Washington Commanders. The Commanders are also a team that can't afford to invite drama back in their building. They just got rid of Dan Snyder. That was a 25-plus year process to finally try to get on the right page after they had an owner from the top down poisoning the team. You just got out of that. You just got a quarterback for the first time in 20 years also in Jaden Daniels. Are you going to risk that? Are you going to risk the possibility of bringing in a guy that hinders Jaden Daniels, that hinders the meal ticket for everybody? Dan Quinn, great coach, ball player coach, guy that players really want to rally behind. Are you gonna do that? You're gonna bring in a guy like Brandon Aiyuk to mess with Dan Quinn's whole chemistry, the synergy on the team? That's a mistake. That's a total mistake if you do that. It's looking worse and worse of a move for not only the Commanders, but any other professional organization in the National Football League to consider giving this guy a real shot. He's shown nothing this offseason. He's been available. June 1st deadline is come and gone. 49ers can cut him whenever they want. I guess they still think there's some potential there with Brandon Aiyuk, where if they cut him, he could burn them somehow. I don't know how. He looks fat in the face. He doesn't look in shape. He looks like he's just going on a crash out media tour. He does not look or sound like an NFL player that's ready to go and contribute for a team in a serious manner. The Commanders are a team that has been plagued infinitely, it seems like, by players who are unserious, players that come in, get a big check, don't do anything, and just hurt the team by lack of production, with weirdness, with a bad energy around the team. Deshaun Jackson was not a model citizen in D.C. He was not. He was not a consistent teammate. He was not reliable to be on the field. He was just his own guy, so to say. Brandon Aiyuk is making Deshaun Jackson look like Larry Fitzgerald right now. So what do the Commanders do? What can they do? Because they still need a receiver. They still need options. They still need weapons on the outside. These are some free agents, all right? I'm going to name some free agents, and they're going to make you go, ugh. They're going to make you go, no, thank you. They are going to make you say, how are you pitching me that guy who is 33 years old, and I just saw what he was capable of? These are wide receivers that they need to go after instead of taking the risk on Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon Aiyuk may be a better receiver. Maybe. Jury's still out on that, by the way. He may be a better receiver, but I don't think he's a better teammate in the NFL. And I don't think he would be better for your NFL team than these receivers, which, again, you're not going to like the names. But here they are. Stephon Diggs. Okay. That's probably the best option right now, and he has had a drama-filled offseason. He was having drama before the Super Bowl, and they gave him a pass because he was playing in the Super Bowl to handle his drama after the Super Bowl, still handling it. Next, Deebo Samuel. You just got rid of him. You might as well bring him back. Swear to God, you might as well bring Deebo back. Deebo's not in good shape. Deebo was as big as Deebo's ever been in the NFL with Washington, and it looked it. He had a couple meaningless games when Washington was eliminated where he looked okay. I'd rather have Deebo Samuel than Brandon Aiyuk right now if I'm Washington. Tyreek Hill, I know, nasty knee injury. Drama-filled also. Red flags all over the place. Tyreek Hill loves football, though. Tyreek Hill loves the game. Tyreek Hill also available. Keenan Allen. Yeah, this is where it gets real murky. The two after this are not better. But Keenan Allen, big target, jump ball guy, maybe he could get some catches. I honestly don't think he will be as demonstrative to the team as Brandon Aiyuk. DeAndre Hopkins is the next. Yes, I know I went to the DeAndre Hopkins well. You might as well pull Julio out of retirement. You might as well pull Amani Toomer out of retirement if we're going to play DeAndre Hopkins in 2026. But let's do it. Let's just do it. He's been going on the team-by-team tour ever since he was in Arizona. Looked okay in Tennessee. He didn't look that good in Baltimore. Maybe DeAndre Hopkins is a 30-catch, 250-yard wide receiver guy that gets you 2 touchdowns in a game where you didn't think he was going to even get the ball. That's the kind of scene that DeAndre Hopkins provides right now. I'd rather have him than Aiyuk. Lastly, if we're doing the return to DC tour, let's bring Debo back. Let's also bring Curtis Samuel back. I'm telling you, the market, the wide receiver free agency market, as I was putting together this list, it was like somebody was ripping my fingernails out with pliers every time I tried to write down a receiver past these guys. It is a rough market. It is a terrible market, but the Commanders cannot be held hostage by the bad market. There's also another option: make a trade. Oh, could they make a trade? Could we see the Commanders make a good trade and get a weapon before camp starts? Could they get a wide receiver that isn't a total head case in the building? That isn't just banking on playing with Jaden Daniels for a season or two at Arizona State way long ago? That could be a possibility. There's a lot of wide receivers on teams right now. There's a lot of wide receivers on teams right now that would want to get paid a little bit more money. That's an option. That's a legitimate option. Anything but Aiyuk at this point. That is the point of this video. I did a whole other video for this channel. You can go check it out about how we got here with Aiyuk and all of the details of what Aiyuk did and how the fallout happened with Shanahan and the team. At this point, though, he is an unsignable asset, in my opinion. If he can't stop being so unprofessional on social media and such a loose cannon there, and he can't have a guy like George Kittle stand up and say, "Hey, that's my guy. It didn't work out in San Francisco. I'm wishing the best for him, and I know stuff like this happens." No. That's not that. That would be something that I'd say, okay, maybe that's just the business side that we don't get access to. If Kittle's telling people to say, have fun with all that comes with it, good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm 1,000% good off of Brandon Aiyuk because what that dude says matters, and he was still being polite. Let me know below. Would you take him?